Salutations everybody, it is Maddie here today, and let the game reviews commence once again. It's been a slow couple of months to open up 2021 when it comes to game releases, but now things are starting to ramp up, and let it all begin with one of my most anticipated titles of 2021, Persona 5 Strikers, which serves as a direct sequel to Persona 5, not Persona 5 Royal, which is my game of the generation. It's kind of a crime that they didn't do anything with Royal afterwards, but hopefully DLC expansion, stuff like that is coming. But anyway, it's no secret here on this channel, I'm a diehard Persona fan. If you listen to the background of like 70% of my videos, you'll hear some type of Persona track. I adore this franchise through and through. As a turn-based RPG, it is easily my favorite franchise to date. I just love it so much, so do keep that in mind with this review. But I'm here to say that even if Persona 5 wasn't your jam, Strikers very well may be. It could be the game that pulls you into the franchise, because it takes a lot of those formulas that we've seen in turn-based RPGs and translates them into action. Plus, with some great social commentary and an interesting story, Persona 5 Strikers is exactly what I was hoping for. Now, that does not mean it is flawless, okay? There are some issues I have with this game. I will be getting into them, but let's get it all started as per usual with the story. So like I said, this is a direct sequel to Persona 5, which came out in 2017. The Phantom Thieves are reuniting over their summer vacation, and they end up getting wrapped up into a road trip spanning across multiple areas in Japan. So you're not going to be experiencing Joker's daily life, kind of like you do in most recent Persona games like 3, 4, and 5, where you're going to go to school, you're going to hang out with friends. This is kind of more of a linear guided adventure where you'll have certain hub areas to explore, like Okinawa or Tokyo and so on and so forth. So you're going to see new locations that you can go to, but they're going to be more confined hub spaces, whereas in previous Persona games, you'd be living out the life of your protagonist. Now, the reason that everyone's teaming up again to go across Japan is because people's hearts are changing yet again, and the group, the Phantom Thieves, is being blamed. Now, I will say early on in this story, they lean very heavily into a lot of pillars that were established by Persona 5, and there are some character development moments throughout the game that, if you're not familiar with what transpired with their arcs in 5, you may be a little bit lost. I don't think so lost that you can't play the game, but it's something worth knowing. More notably, for those of you who are experienced like me with Persona, yeah, I gotta say that I felt like the early goings to this adventure, number one, weren't paced that well, and number two, were extremely familiar, which got me worried. Fortunately, after about 6 hours, it really does take a life of its own, and it becomes its own thing, but it really leans heavily into Persona 5. So if you're okay with that, and I don't mean like into its past and stuff, but they're constantly drawing correlations to everything that happened in 5, and to me, I just felt like it was not its own separate thing for long enough. So that was an issue in the early going. But anyway, you're going across Japan, and you're joined by Zenkichi, who is a cop. Hey, remember Ryder from Mass Effect Andromeda? Yeah, that's Zenkichi. And I mean, I bet that Tom Taylorson is a little bit hyped to be out of that role of Ryder and doing something significant here with Persona. He did a phenomenal job with Zenkichi, this kind of awkward, quirky cop with a really interesting backstory. Obviously, if you play Persona 5 and you know the Phantom Thieves' relationship with the police, it kind of brings this interesting element into Strikers, where now they have to work with a undercover cop, and there's this built-in distrust, but they kind of grow to like each other in a way, and you're learning more about each other, and so different motivations are revealed, of course, and that becomes a real major core of this story. But that's not to say that there aren't other interesting characters outside of Zenkichi, because of course there is also Sophia, or as they call her, Sophie, which you discover in the early going of the game, and both these characters together slot in perfectly with the Phantom Thieves. We've seen multiple Persona spin-offs, such as Arena Ultimax, where they bring all of these characters together, and they bring in Labrys, and there are certain characters that are added in, like in Persona 4 Dancing All Night, and so on and so forth. But I think when it comes to actual spin-offs, Persona 5 Strikers does it the best with its brand new characters. They develop them well, they have their own motivations, their own reasoning for being the story. They're not just jammed in there for, hey, new character. There's an actual reason for them being there, and I gotta say, I really liked what they did with especially Sophie. She is super interesting, she's got a great backstory, she makes so much sense, and she fits so well into the Phantom Thieves. I really liked her, and that's kind of the best part, is as the group got bigger, I was thinking to myself, how are they all going to mesh, but they find a way to do so, even if some of their ideologies collide. So I really appreciated the character development in Strikers. They did a great job with it, pretty much everywhere except Futaba. I have a personal complaint about her. I thought that 5, they did a really good job with Futaba. She was one of the most interesting characters, and every spin-off since Futaba's just been that kind of generic, hey gamers type of character, where she makes like little pop culture references and goes like, ah, level up, and just whoever's writing Futaba now just needs to stop.
Stop it. Get some help.
I'm sorry, like they are tarnishing this character as far as I'm concerned, and I think all development halted as soon as 5 ended. Like, any spin-off afterwards has just been wholly uninteresting with Futaba. So throughout this story, you're going to explore what are called jails. These are places that trap the desires of the masses, and in order to get rid of these jails, you'll have to remove the monarch of said jail from their ruling and attempt to uncover who is behind these large changes in society. So that's kind of the general premise of it all. But Persona is known for its social commentary, talking on the likes of social media, politics, and much more. And for this game, I found the social commentary to be quite relatable, quite understandable, and great for the modern audience. So there is something kind of insightful buried into this story, and it's not just throwaway, which I also found very nice to discover. I thought it was going to be a standard Persona adventure, and that would be really it, but they did a good job with it. They really put some meaning behind it. They put some great character development into it, and I appreciated it, man. I mean, through and through, it continuously surprised me. Additionally, there will be moments where you investigate your new surroundings to learn more about your targets. So as you interview different people throughout your hub area, you can become familiar with different shops and different people in the location. There are also requests, just like in P5 and P5R, but they don't add much in the terms of story, and most notably is the lacking of social elements. Now, I've seen this line of defense come up across the Persona community that because you're close friends with everyone in P5 already, you know, you've technically maxed out your social links, there's no need for a social system in P5 Strikers. I don't really understand that, and I honestly think that's overly defensive of people to say. Like, I have best friends in real life, and I don't stop getting close to them because I'm already close with them. So I think that's kind of a lazy excuse. I gotta say that I think the game would have been better if they had social elements. It's one of the key standout things with Persona. They do have bonding elements, which we'll talk about in our gameplay section, but yeah, you can't develop your relationships any further than such as how you could in previous Persona games. I will say, I don't know how it would have worked with the way the story is structured, and I think it was a good call just to say, let's not do this. But yeah, I don't think the excuse that, hey, you're already friends with them works. That doesn't make sense to me. So with that, let's get into gameplay. Now, if you didn't know this, fun fact, Persona 5 was actually supposed to be an action game. So a lot of what Persona 5 Strikers feels like is actualizing that original vision of Persona 5. For those who don't know, this is developed by Omega Force, and they're usually behind Musou games. You know, those Dynasty Warriors, Samurai Warriors, the beat-em-up games where you do thousands of KOs. They're a guilty pleasure of mine. I really enjoy them. But Musou games have gradually shifted their development style from massive rosters that largely play the same and are very satisfying in their own guilty pleasure kind of way to something with a bit more substance and depth. I noted this while playing Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, and I was really hoping we'd get the same with Strikers, which we actually did. Each member of the Phantom Thieves plays a bit differently. For example, Ryuji is a tank that can resist being staggered when you activate his ability, and in exchange for that, you can deal out some massive damage without being interrupted. Of course, Joker, like we've seen with previous Persona protagonists, is the wild card, who can use any Persona he desires. Also, Sophie does more damage if you time her attacks out properly. And so every character kind of has this little gimmick attached to them, this little thing there that makes them play a little bit differently. Haru can keep spinning and pounding away and doing massive damage. Yusuke is a complete counter attacker, and he's so satisfying to play as, so on and so forth. So while each of them can play in the same kind of button inputs where you're using square and triangle, and you're pretty much constantly just alternating between them based off what combos you want to do, what's really notable here are their special abilities and their personas and targeting the weaknesses of enemies. So while at its core it's a simple beat 'em up, there's enough here to keep you engaged and entertained, and that's mostly thanks to the smooth transition of turn-based elements into action. All-out attacks are here, so when you target enough weaknesses, just like in the turn-based games, you'll perform an all-out attack, doing widespread damage to multiple enemies on screen, and it's just as stylistic as it is in the main games. there are show times. So as you do baton passes, which you can perform by targeting weaknesses of enemies, this showtime meter will build up, which will do a large AoE attack that is, you guessed it, extremely stylish. Love these to death. You can also switch out personas, which brings in a Final Fantasy VII Remake element that I did not expect. So in Final Fantasy VII Remake, there's that action turn-based combat, right, where you're playing as Cloud, for example, and you're wanting to pick a new spell, and time will slow down here as you kind of think things out, but everything's still moving around you. Now, in Persona 5 Strikers, time just completely stops, but as you're switching out personas, you're looking at the weaknesses that you can target. It has that extra element there where it keeps its tactical nature while still being very interactive and things are happening. So this was one of the best transitions out of everything when it comes from turn-based to action. Now, I mentioned bond upgrades. As major story events occur, the bond meter will go up. As you complete different missions, the bond meter will go up. And pretty much the idea here is that your group is getting closer together, okay? They're loving each other even more. So yes, they are becoming closer friends, technically. And what's happening is you can unlock a bunch of different passive abilities here. You know, rotating around poles, jumping off cars, blowing them up, so on and so forth. There's leveling up, and certain skills in this game that I did not use in the turn-based games are more useful in action combat. SP consumption is very important to manage here, but not so much as the turn-based games, because you can just leave the jail and everyone will regen no problem. And then last but certainly not least is the new addition of cooking. So Joker can get a bunch of ingredients and cook items, and this is great because it can save you a lot of money, so you can spend it on brand new weapons and armor, which, by the way, have their own assets. I really like that. I hate when games give you new weapons, but the stats are just the only thing that changes. Cooking is a really cool addition that I hope to see in future Persona games in its own way, where you can use it as a substitute for items in dungeons. We've sort of seen that a little bit like in Persona 4 Golden. You can make your own lunch and that type of stuff and bring it to school, but I want to see them continue to build out this element. I thought it fit really well, and so I hope they do more of that. Now, there is one issue I do have with the gameplay, and it's the aliasing. I mean, these character models are abysmal. They look terrible a lot of times. Now, there is a quality mode and there is a frame rate mode which you can use, and that's all fine and dandy, but even on the graphics mode, while I was playing in PS5 with back compat, which, by the way, there are no next gen upgrades for this game, all the models are just constantly aliasing, which means like there's these jagged edges, and it does not look good. It's not going to ruin your experience, but it absolutely is noticeable. It stands out all the time, and so I found this to be very disappointing, and I really hope that they do something about it. Like a next-gen upgrade could clean it up. I will say on graphics mode, it looks a little bit better. Even then, man, it's just like, it stands out like a sore thumb. Like, you'll always notice it. Also, once you are done with this game, it took me about 45 hours to complete the whole story and a bunch of the requests in the game. There is end game content. There is replayable content. You can start up the game again on a brand new difficulty. So there is a sense of replayability here, especially with the Platinum Trophy having one certain grindy element, which is involving maxing out your bond level. I have to say that the New Game Plus will be appreciated by a lot of people. With that being said, that's generally all there is for gameplay. So let's move into one very fundamental part of Persona as a series. That's sound. So sound here is fantastic. You know, you have the familiar all-out attack sounds that are like that. I don't know how to do this sound. You know what I'm talking about, though. But there's that familiarity there, but it feels so good, man. Like, it's a great audio feedback. Furthermore, vocal performances, I mean, it's got such a star-studded cast from Jeremy Lee to Matt Mercer, Erica Lindbeck. I mean, the talent here on this Persona game is star-studded. So, of course, that is always going to be phenomenal. These actors and actresses are so great at what they do. They're huge inspirations to me, and they continue to kill it. It's just a testament to how great they are, man. So you could feel that bond growing between the group, because I think the cast is becoming more familiar with each other's work, and that stuff is just great, man. And also kudos to the writers and the directors for making conversations flow properly. Of course, though, most importantly, is the music. The music is a complete bop in Persona 5 Strikers. Oh my lord. I mean, the battle music is just there's so many tracks here that are great. I will say, though, I do think they leaned a bit too heavily into Persona 5, which I know sounds strange. I mean, this may be coming from someone who grinds Persona soundtracks a ton. I mean, since they've added them on Spotify,
Get to the
that's all I
turret.
listen
Show me
to
all
when
you
I'm
got.
writing.
Yes.
I do listen to Persona soundtrack a lot more than the average bear, but with that in mind, I do have to say that I felt like for a lot of the moments, like, oh, they're going to play the tension track here, they're going to play the happy track here, and it just started to kind of water down overall the major tracks that occurred in 5 and 5 Royal, and I thought they could have done with all the effort they did throughout story segments being fully voiced and all the effort they went to tell this full story, not more of this Muso game where you're just taking out a bunch of enemies, but there's more directed objectives. I gotta say, I was surprised that they lean so heavily on an old soundtrack. Not that that's a bad thing. The soundtrack's incredible. It's one of my favorites of all time. It's just really that I felt like they could have done with some new tracks here to lift those moments. Like Sophie has her own themes and Kichi has his own theme, and those are great. Outside of that, it's a lot of familiar tunes that you'll be listening to, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how crazy you are about Persona soundtrack. So with that, it's time for the verdict. This game is available on PS4, it's available on Switch, and it's available on PC. Like I said, I played it through PS5 backwards compatibility. And I gotta say, if you're a Persona fan, this is a no-brainer. This is 100% worth the pickup. I love the ending to this game. I thought it was so well thought out. I just think the social commentary as well as the combat and the smooth transition, nothing about this game felt forced, which a lot of spin-offs do. So I appreciate that. If you're a Persona fan, this is 100% worth your money. Please do pick it up. You will enjoy it. If you're new to the Persona franchise, you already know where I'm going with this. Yeah, go look into Persona 5, go look into Persona 5 Royal. There are a lot of things in this game that I do think you will miss out on if you don't play P5. Is it so much so that it will ruin your game? No, but there are some major characters that can connect to some of the newer characters in unique ways, and it builds the bond of the group, and it really helps things out and invest in me further. And maybe it's just because I'm a big Persona fanboy, I gotta be real with you, but I do think that you might be missing an element there. Your time will not be wasted if you play Persona 5 Royal. Go pick it up, play it, see if you like it. It's very cheap nowadays. You can get it for like $20. And I gotta say, if you dig that, this is an absolutely worthy follow-up, because even if you want more Persona, it's so different in so many ways while also being familiar that it's not going to burn you out. So if you're going from one to the other, you will also enjoy it. So I say this game is good enough to put Persona as a series on your radar. You could definitely get away with just playing it on its own based off some of the new characters and their involvement. But if you want that full, deep immersion, you're going to want to play, of course, P5, or at least look up the character arcs. But God, if you're doing that, why are you watching my videos? Like, why, man? You know that'll bug me. Don't do that. Anyway, those are my thoughts on Persona 5 Strikers. Once again, big thank you to Atlas and Sega for providing this copy so early, allowing me to really think things out. Let's go. Let's get this over.
But this snowstorm is picked.
Be careful, everyone.
Reinforcements! If this keeps up much longer, we'll be done for. We should make good use of our surroundings. See anything that could give you the advantage? Great show, children! Really didn't miss that one.
Oh, my head is...
Roll, keep it together.
meta-nav on our phones anymore.
I don't know what's going on. I don't think anything else could explain this. You saw Alice on that screen just like I did. No matter how you look at it, that was her shadow. We just happened to wander into Alice's palace using Emma. That would be the most logical explanation.
Need more chest.
Whatever it is doesn't change the fact that we're in deep shit.
We need more intel. Let's investigate the area. This really is a palace? Distortion has to have a core somewhere. We need to find the treasure. Oh, I'm getting a faint whiff of it. If we look around, we may be able to learn what's going on too. We'll get a better idea of what to do next, depending on what we find.
Guess we're doing this.
No good. It's an ambush.
This ain't fair!
Joker!
More chest.
Who are these little guys?
Your Majesty, we captured these thieves, but we couldn't seize their desires. We have instead brought them to you.
Couldn't seize their desires? Explain yourselves. You look pretty cool. So, what's your name? Joker! Ah, so you are Joker, huh? Come now, Joker. You need to answer properly when your queen asks a question.
Quit it, asshole!
Would you shut your mouth? Or are you looking for punishment too?
Wait. Shit! Just try it!
What a bore. I just stopped caring. Get rid of them, however. I don't want toys that don't do as they're told. Bye-bye.
Hey, you guys okay?
Yeah, luckily.
Man, that was some real shit. Even worse was that effing... So that's what she's really like, huh? How about you, Joker? She really whacked you good. You said it. Damn that Alice. Acting like she's top shit. I'm gonna be so pissed off until we finally get back at her. So, where are we now?
Looks like we wound up underground. I'd say it's some sort of garbage dump. For now, let's just focus on getting out of here.
This place.
Yes, on my way.
Dumps people into
We're about to engage.
Find a way out as soon as possible. We don't know what we'll run into either. Let's keep an eye on how we're holding.
lost.
It looks like I... Repeat after me! Firepower!
Alright, back again. It's been a while since I've done one of these. I ended up skipping doing an extended thoughts video for Persona 1 and 2 because all of my thoughts on their stories are pretty much there in the reviews. I didn't have anything else to add, and I didn't think I would have as much to say about Persona 5 characters as I did with Royal, but there
Did you get my
are some
message?
things I do want to mention. I just couldn't put them in the review
forward.
spoilers.
Okay,
But this is
moving.
for, and if you've seen my
Wowzers.
videos, you should know
Repeat
what to
after
expect
me.
by now, so let's not waste any more time and get straight
Playing
into
more
it.
than one
The first
game at
thing I
once
want to
if
talk
you're
about is
hearing
actually
weird
a slight
sounds.
mistake I made in the review that several of you have pointed out, where I mentioned the Phantom Thieves not having shadows in the jails.
So, I've been looking at builds and stuff, and the newest thing I saw was you can have 4 spec instead of 2. So you're only getting 2 more, right?
Exactly like what happens
Unless there's something I'm missing. See, I've played SSR 3 times, right? And my issue is the playstyle. Having to resummon 20 plus times with my mouse or whatever I play. No, it should be a click of a button or it should be auto stuff. I don't like that playstyle. So then I looked into the Spectre, and then the new Spectre helm. That Spectre helm is probably going to cost like 100 div or something. Which I think is wrong. That means a lot of the player base won't even be able to use it. Or maybe it'll only be a couple. Or maybe it shouldn't cost fucking anything. So I don't know how I feel about it. I am leaning towards Detonating Dead, I guess, since it's the simplest. But I don't know, man. Well, there must be something with Necron missing. You said it's going to be super strong this time. Only if we're getting SR, so we're not playing that again. So, what are your thoughts?
But from a plot perspective, I personally still think they're the same. You're trudging through
Are you
physical
still there by chance?
interpretations of various Japanese locations, and you're still changing people's hearts. The method may be somewhat dissimilar, but the concept isn't. And clearing jails leads to the same results as it would in palaces. I'm not dismissing anybody who thinks otherwise, that's just my opinion. Though I'm sure some people are gonna tell me I'm I'm wrong no matter what I say. I'm hoping we can at least agree that gathering info on the Monarchs prior to the jails was somewhat half-baked. I was terrified when I first saw this was a thing. I thought it was going to be just like investigating the TV victims in Persona 4. Those moments did Alice's found body as a means of framing the fantasies for murder. And if you think that's gonna work again after they were framed for Okumura's death, it unfortunately does. You know, if these sheeple are gonna be swayed so easily, why are we even bothering saving them? Owada is probably the most...
Okay, moving. Show.
Get to the target.
Wowzers. Okay, moving.
Okay, how are you? Good old snowstorm, right? Yeah.
Hey, Hill.
There you are. That'll be easier because I'm writing a whole story when I could do this in 10 seconds.
Yeah, I was trying to listen to the stream, but it's buffering for me. I don't know if it's me or you or what.
Not downloading anything, but now I'm
We're getting
double
close
check.
to a...
Yeah, like it's buffering even on 160p, so...
Let me refresh it on my side. No, it's instant.
Can you keep up?
I mean, I am playing multiple games at the same time, but I mean, that shouldn't affect the buffer.
We're about to engage.
Repeat after me! Firepower!
But yeah, minions, I think should be decently strong this league.
Well, the only new thing I saw was the helmet, but I think it's going to be overpriced. And I don't even know if it works.
Well, the skill I put in your DM.
But yeah, you showed me 20%. Yeah, no, that's huge. I didn't even know that. All I did was watch their video. I didn't like the patch. I tried to look at the starter build. The only one I saw was Guardian, which was popular last. Right?
Something like that. Let me see if he's updated it. Yeah.
Are you posting something else?
I was trying to find like one.
Oh, okay.
He'll probably update it before league start.
Please. Oh, Zoomancer again? But Zoomancer hasn't been good for a few seasons. So you're saying it's good.
I mean, Zoomancer's always been good. It's just minion builds aren't going to be super fast, which I remember was your biggest issue.
Yeah. And the devs know this, so I thought of something about this. And I'm like, why don't they just create a new speed skill or give us a bigger flat movement speed buff and call it a day? Why should I have to just think about this from a gameplay perspective? Why do I have to trade movement speed for damage for movement speed? Everyone should move the same speed, regardless of class. That's how I feel. Diablo 4 is horrible at this because Necro is the worst one at it. It has no movement at all. I don't know. Why? Why can't we be just as fast? What's wrong with it? So make a skill we could put on our skill bar, you know, teleport or whatever it is. Oh, okay. You know,
There's this build. I'm not exactly sure how it works. It's a new thing that's came out.
what?
It definitely is not a traditional summoner, but it is a summoner. I think you have specters. You have specters, animate guardian. I think you summon.
I don't see him
clones of
summoning
yourselves.
anything. One hitting everyone. Oh wait, there they are. Didn't they disappear?
Yeah, I think it's like when you use your skill, it summons them, and then something happens. I think they also start using the skill.
You know what this build reminds me of? Like to a T? Like to a stinking T. Yosh, is the build I'm playing in Last Epoch. It does the exact same thing.
That's neat.
So you have one super minion. I'm not saying it's super minion, that's little. You got one super minion, and then 2 to 3 little guys, and it stacks all the damage, like 70, 100,000 damage hit, whatnot. And it summons when you teleport. And then you move again and resummon. And that's all you get.
What this does is when you use the blink arrow.
Yeah, I'm watching.
And then your summons use the arrow.
Is he using a bow too? What the heck is this? Is he using Pathfinder to move fast? I mean, that's how it works. This is gnarly. I bet you I won't even afford this. Oh, we got a divine on.
Apparently you can league start it.
Oh, really?
But you don't. You league start as something else and transition into it.
Oh yeah.
I'm going detonate dead. Chain reaction detonate dead.
Well, why wouldn't I do detonate dead and then swap to this?
I'm not sure if they work out easy.
I'm trying to figure out what skill he's casting because he's using a bow. I can't tell.
Blink arrow.
Oh, that's it.
And possibly mirror arrow as well.
He's only using 2 buttons and 1 teleport. That's it. The 2-button build. He's using E, which I think is his main attack. W is the dodge, but no blink. So what is that? So the green one, the bottom one's blink, right? So what's the green one? That, you know, looks like a woman standing or flying or something. What's that skill? It's not blink.
Which one?
His first skill on his mouse click.
It's a skill that makes minions teleport to you. I forget what it's called.
Oh, so he's doing that. You know, that's the other nice thing. I don't have to use a skill to do that. I have a belt. It gives me increased damage and teleport 6 minions.
Yeah.
In Last Epoch. So that is okay. So he's using that. So otherwise, if you didn't have to do that, Yosh, it'd be a 1-button build. Little. Not playing. Yeah, 1-button build. Okay. That is definitely the most odd thing I've ever seen.
And
is this like a meta?
Videos. There's those. And this is the build.
And he's using 4 specters and 3 something else. That's it. So I'm wondering, this build we're watching right here, Yosh, if You could get 8 specters then with the helmet, or if that would destroy the build.
I don't know. Spectres will probably be a pretty good build with that helmet. I don't know how rare that helmet's gonna be.
I'm just scared of the cost.
Yeah, it'll all depend on how rare it is.
Yeah.
If monsters move faster,
I'm hoping it's a brand new item. I think it should be common.
They are making Headhunter and Mage Blood and a lot of other really rare uniques 2.5.
Get to the target.
5 times as common.
Yes, on my
Oh,
way.
really?
Couple
So
the
you'll see
price
at
of
least
those.
double the amount than we've ever seen. That's it.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, still isn't a lot, but I think now it won't be 200 div. It could be something I can own.
Yeah.
Hmm. No, I don't know.
All right, are you listening? If they move faster, it doesn't matter.
I just wish minions could move. I just don't get it. It's the biggest downfall of those builds. You're slow. Everything else
they are more for bossing than they are mapping.
I just don't know why. I'm serious. What's wrong with making every single class move the same? What's wrong with
Yes, show me all you got. Move.
Well, the issue isn't even your class moves, so it's your minions move slow.
Well, if they teleport on me, it wouldn't matter.
That's got a cooldown though, so you can't keep using it when if you're moving real fast. Like there'll just be downtime.
Can't win. Then there needs to be an item you could wear, such as a belt. Teleport, however, like 5 minions, 6 minions, whatever they'll allow on teleport, right? Maybe they should.
I'm sure there's probably a way to like do it, but it'd probably just like hurt the build in too many other ways.
Yeah. I mean, the league mechanic does seem interesting.
The league mechanic seems fine to me. I'm really happy about a lot of the end game changes.
Nice quality of life.
It'll be a lot more simple to make money, which is probably a great thing for you in your eyes. No more.
Especially with that the scarab changes.
Yeah, the scarab changes and getting rid of the compasses will make it to where you don't need to do really
no more
complex things. Now it really is just get some scarabs, pick your Atlas tree, and go.
I mean, it's too bad we can't even have that nurse so hard, but I'm wondering with this change, because of all the life leech and all that, if, I don't know, I haven't heard anyone talk about it, if we could go back to the OG with like 50 zombies.
Well, that's what Zoo is.
No,
oh, you mean just like
really.
zombies? I don't know about just zombies. I know you can't do just skeletons anymore. They killed that.
Yeah, so you would have, depending on the helmet though. Yeah, you only get 2 or 3 specters. 2 of the gargoyles, whatever. And the special ones, you get 4 of those. And if you want to summon skeletons first, it hasn't changed. I remember way back in the day, you could have a build with like 50 zombies.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, no, you definitely gotta mix and match.
I don't know. And I mean, Zoo was fun. I enjoyed it. It took a while to get to that point. But yeah, eventually it did not move fast.
Yeah, and I don't know what other builds you like really other than minions.
I did like Righteous Fire, but it ended up costing me so much.
I think a lot of the reason Righteous Fire cost you so much is because you kept listening to Lux, and he kept telling you to buy wrong items that were expensive. And then you had to sell those items or just buy more items to fix it.
Yeah. I haven't heard from Lux in things like months. What?
I haven't seen him in a while either. I know, like, he was really depressed when he joined that PoE group and they forced him to, like, give all his money up or whatever.
Yeah.
What was it doing?
I mean, Detonate Dead kind of looks fun.
If you think Detonate Dead looks fun, that is supposedly the strongest build by far this league.
Well, that's for starters. Not like...
Well, it should be able to do everything. That is probably the only build I'll be playing this league is Detonate Dead.
And from what I can tell, it's very cheap. The map, because they said you can stack a crazy amount of defense and save 9 kills.
Yeah. It scales damage based off the
health of
other things, but health of the enemies. Or rather, more specifically, like the tier of the map.
So the harder the content, the better your game.
Yeah, the only exceptions is for tier 17s, which is the new endgame map stuff. They will not get the tier 17 health. So it'll be a little weaker there, but with how strong it already was, it should be okay.
And that's before you even, like, figure out the best tier.
Yeah.
At Blur, I don't think there was an product I had. And he was still zooming around the map.
Yeah, I might not do chain reaction. Chain reaction seems like the best, or rather the most fun. But I don't know if it's the best.
I could start with Detonate Dead too, right? I don't have to do like Fireball.
I think you can. I don't think you have to. Well, I mean, you have to play like Fireball until you get it, but I think like when you get it, you can just go into it.
Well, it comes out while I'm already working, so...
Yeah, it comes out when I'm working too.
So... by then, I'll maybe go and already get one.
Okay, so yeah, you don't start Detonate Dead until you get to maps. But as soon as you get to maps, you can get it. At least according to this guy.
I wish there's still a level make up 5.
Let's see what this guy says. Okay, this guy gets Detonate Dead really early, I think.
I'm trying to get... This game has been really, really addictive. These two guys have done a really good job. Has infinite scaling, has a lot of different build priorities. I pretty much play every day till I feel like I hit a wall. And then I move on to another game, and then it's like...
Yeah.
Yeah, I could have sworn that anything was like even in the top like 25, like you typed it in. Sure.
Well, it is a league starter. You just don't do the campaign with it.
Yes, on my way.
At this
Wowzers.
point,
Okay.
I would give the company $10, $15. Never have.
But that said, looks like you spend a lot of your end game campaign sort of stuff doing Armageddon brand, which is really nice.
What did you think of the pack?
I have to look at them again.
I didn't on it. This is the first time in a long time. But the only thing I really liked was the entire map turning into a net.
Yeah, I remember
was
that
it.
one.
I don't even know how much.
The turtle is $90 pack.
Oh, what? You couldn't even put in the. I don't like the packs. I don't think they're that innovative. I don't think they're that interesting.
Yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of them either. They're still like really neat compared to other games where like the cosmetics do things, but yeah, compared to other PoE packs are not great. I did like the level up effect as well, but not enough to spend money on it.
No, I mean I already had a decent.
Okay. Wowzers.
Yeah, I got the one that like makes the screen black or whatever.
Oh, I.
Oh, they came out with a new armor, a belt type. It has a socket in it.
Belt armor.
No. Oh, you may be thinking of the Abyss Jewel belts. Now they can put in like actual skill gems.
was an upgrade, but I don't think it worked for free. What race is detonating dead? Is it
Yeah.
Okay. Time to battle.
Well, it
Yes,
could be a
on
couple
my
things,
way.
but
yeah.
I think it depends. I think I'm going witch though.
Like, is it more
I'm not too sure what all the different like reasons are. Witch is generally more tanky and can scale further.
So that weird build you showed me, one of the first comments was, I just want to thank you for this build. This became my first level 100 character. Now I've been playing PoE.
Not how you would have done it. You bundle things right, and that
That
saves
is
you up to
apparently
10%
very
on
strong.
your USAA home and auto insurance. Get a quote today.
He said, I created this character yesterday and I already hit level 8. Everyone's like, this is the best thing you build ever. Finally, actual build that actually. I wonder how.
The blink arrow. I don't know like what like later on looks
Can't
like,
be
but I know
that.
you can.
Oh, it's crap. Fourth valve is just. Sorry, guys. Always legendary. Amulet. And it. This is like over 100 dips.
Well, is that for like the best in slot gear? Because yeah.
This is definitely the most. I do like he moves really fast.
Yeah.
So he's not even playing a tanky character. How is?
I imagine something to do with his minions are tanking.
Okay, hit. You're about
like here's a build. Where's your
Starting my
DM?
business, I put out
And if you look at white and yellow
for
maps,
the world, what I wanted them.
like it is incredibly cheap to get all this that he has.
Huh, that's what, I don't know if it's the same guy, but that's. Oh, this is. No, low version?
There's like a drop down menu where you can like click on the gear.
Oh, wait, that's
And you
in
wanna-
game? He only has one legend. How is this in game compared to the other one?
I don't know.
22 million. Yeah, oh, 234 million. Yeah. Big difference.
Yeah, but that comes from this build. And he's got videos of him doing like Juice tier 16 and Cyrus and all that.
Kind of unfortunate that a huge amount of the player base will never get to really see the potential of what the game can do. Like, you can't just use a build, do that, go. Like any other action. I mean, yeah, getting better loot will help you. Pretty much every other action RPG. He's the only one I've witnessed.
I like the difficulty of it.
And I really don't want to have to pull out my wallet. Like, Sap, Yui, though.
Yeah. I am happy because when it was first like getting showcased, a lot of people were saying, "Oh, it's awful." A lot of the streamers were saying that. Now it looks like a lot of the people that played it was like, "Actually, I was wrong. It's really fun." So that's good.
All this does is give Diablo 4.
Yeah, I haven't went back since the start, and I have no plans to. I heard they're like, from everything I've seen, even with all the updates, they are not fixing my issues, which...
What was your number one?
The end game was just either doing the hell rifts or whatever, or dungeons, and it got old really fast.
On D3, you have your adventure mode, you have rifts, greater rift, and Uber. That was all in D3. But
the thing is, greater rifts.
I think the simplicity.
I'd rather do greater rifts than any of the in-game content in Diablo 4.
Isn't that interesting? I think it was the simplicity of it, right?
Yeah. Like it was like kind of like PoE maps. You just like opened it up and just went through it. In dungeons, it just feels like so much more of a slog.
I didn't to go to the 700 places on the map.
It's really good. I keep wanting to go back.
I have not.
It's really good. One, it's got a really cool mechanic. Two, all the best features from the previous season, which is my favorite season of all time, is now in the game permanently. So,
Yeah.
quality of life. Scale your damage 3 times more than you ever could. Also, you don't have to pick up anything, Yosh. Oh my goodness, did it double my farm? Literally, once you unlock those, your pet picks up everything. I've been asking for that. That includes death rest, by the way. You don't have to pick them up, bro.
That is
You don't
nice.
have to pick them up. Trying to make me want to. And another funny thing, because of the way this season's designed, one of my favorite builds of all time, which is a very niche build, is now in the top 10 best build technology. Holy atrocious. That was so crazy. So fun. Stop playing last epoch.
Yeah. I felt like I pretty much did everything in it.
I mean, did you do super high corruption and get your pink purple light?
I got like some of the pink items,
Yeah.
but I wasn't really like struggling going up the corruption. I just didn't want to keep doing it. It was just taking too long.
It was, I mean, I played about 200 hours before I quit.
Yeah, I played for a decent
More than I
amount.
played the last, It does need more. I don't know what. Maybe I mean rips are just so simple. I think maybe more games should just have rips.
Yeah.
Well, Legal, are you buying anything from the support pack?
I don't have $60 to waste.
Oh, what do you want? $60?
My loans.
What? No, that's not. No. What's? Why is $60?
That's what support packs are.
No, they go up to $8.
And their supporter packs are 30, 60, 90. But yeah, I didn't like anything but the turtle really
The
in
turtle? Why is that in the 90? You know what? I thought of an idea that would still make him a ton of money. So you have the pack, right? Or they'd be like, you could buy anything out of the pack, but you're gonna pay half of what it is. So $35, $40 for that one item. I would still do it. Not get points or anything. I don't want it. I would like that option.
it. Yeah.
So instead of paying 90, you pay $40 for the turtle. No points.
I'll care once the fucking loot boxes come around.
Oh, to see what's on the loot boxes? Yeah, we haven't seen that yet.
I love wasting money on loot boxes.
Oh, the
There's also the
dopamine
ball
hit always go
pass.
away. I always feel like I wasted my money on it. And then they just come to the game anyways, just they're just way more.
Yeah.
What are you playing this league? Oh,
I
yeah?
think he's
What are you
playing
playing?
Detonate Dead as
Oh,
well.
me? Yeah, I'm Chain Reaction, Detonate Dead, or Cremation. One of those.
Yeah. I can't decide. I was maybe looking at that big minion buff, but then I don't really want to play SSR, and I don't know if I want to play 2. That leaves out a lot of other else.
Yeah, Gazi and Cesarian said minions are probably going to be really strong this league.
I don't know how it's...
Well, they don't even care about the helmet as much as the
the
node I showed you.
I mean, that is a big buff.
Yeah, because even without the leech, that aside, it still has minions gain 40% of maximum life as maximum energy shield and the physical damage reduction. So it adds a lot to the minion itself.
I guess I would like to play without hurting myself something more of a huge army, but not Zoo. I don't
Yeah, I think
But
Zeus,
I don't think that's an option. I don't even think...
The only thing you can get more than that is ones that are kind of like fake minions, like spider build.
Oh yeah, or the Quad.
Yeah. But as far as real minions,
like
it's
let's say
Zoo.
instead of 50 zombies, I can have 30.
Justice will prevail.
But you can have 8 specters with that helmet.
I'm not sure.
You're not sure?
Yeah, I don't really look at specters too much.
Well, I mean, how top tier are specters?
They're not as easy,
How's it
I
going?
don't think. But they can definitely go to endgame.
I'm doing alright. Just gaming. Got through the snowstorm. But if I go Detonate Dead... No, I could still swap to it, Yosh. But I don't know how it costs. But I also don't want to wait till maps to do Detonate Dead. That just sounds so boring. You know?
Well, getting the map should only take you a day.
I mean... Maybe? I don't know. Oh, snap my back in half. Oh yeah. Well, isn't that nice? Unless you have another idea, Legal. Besides Zoomancer and SR. there's something else that's racking your brain. Since anything, I think with the new changes, I mean, everything should be a little more viable than they were. But then again, I'm also losing clear speed. So then, Yo showed me a new build I've never seen before, and it looks so freaking expensive.
He's talking about Bama.
Bama, yeah.
Bama.
The blink arrow, mirror arrow.
No.
It kind of looked fun. Also looked very costly. Have you ever played it, Josh? Or played it?
Oh.
No, it's a pretty new like build.
You have played it?
No.
No. I can't. I ran out of Game Pass, and I can't complete the game. It's so sad.
Do you want to buy it again?
I don't have money for a game.
I mean, I can give you my card.
What are you trying to
buy? I've been playing the entire Yakuza series by like lore.
Are you a fan of MRU games?
MRU?
Or MIRU? They're Dynasty Warriors.
Oh, Dynasty Warriors? I haven't played a Dynasty Warriors game since God, what's that game called?
I was
Hyrule
recommended
Warriors?
Strikers, and it has a crazy sale on his CD keys. Persona 5 Striker.
Yeah, I'm not a Persona person.
Yeah, me neither, but for that type of game, that really good.
I liked Hyrule Warriors though.
Oh,
back
that
on
was my
the
favorite.
Switch.
I thought that was one of the best ones I've played. And apparently, this is more like Hyrule Warriors, the way it's set up, in the way that I think Nintendo knocked that out of the park.
I like the like grid system with the missions. That's fun.
And this game's pretty awesome too.
Oh, hold on. I think if you go to the guides, Gazzy has a list of builds that he curates. No, you can't do that.
I can't do what?
Oh no, I'm in the room with Michael right now. Trying to show him the Gazzy TV has a list of builds that he has, along with how good they were in the league. He hasn't updated that yet.
Bombarding clones, necromancer.
Oh, they have like
22 million. But the other build was 223 million.
You are able to look up just Gazzy TV builds on Google,
I have a
and
question
it's like
for
a
you.
thing shows up.
Isn't there? I could have sworn you guys told me there's a cap.
On what?
Damn it.
The only cap on damage in Path of Exile is like hitting a phase.
There's
So
not a
200
cap.
million seems like that's way above cap. That just seems a little.
There's not a cap, but you don't. Realistically, if a build says 200 mil and a build says 300 mil, you're probably going to want to put that damage into more defenses or something else. You don't need 300
Because you
mil,
show
but
me
there's
two.
not
You show me a
necessarily
22
cap.
million and a 223 million. The highest build I ever played was Poison SSR, and I think it was over 20 million. That's the highest I've ever done. So 200 million seems insane. Like you would
That's
one-shot
likely
anything.
whenever you have several mirrors into the build. The highest build I've ever played was around 70 million, and that was actually DPS. But I think my cap in that build was probably somewhere in the 150 region.
So him stating 223, he's probably closer to like 50 years.
You could probably, with reasonable gear, get somewhere around 50, yeah. And 50 million is around how much HP that regular Shaper has with one person. Actually, no, I think he got buffed. I don't think that's right anymore.
So, why even state that? If you know that that's there, then why not just stop there? So you can compare the
Because
other. Versus
people
I
like
do 400 million, this one does
300
10
mil,
million.
400 mil, and they're like, oh, this build must be better.
Right. I mean,
it's unfortunate. That's a thing a lot of people do. It's sort of like bait build stuff.
Bait and ego.
Yeah.
Well, maybe the 22 million would be enough. But I could never one-shot the high boss.
The 22 million I showed you is also really cheap. You could probably start the 22 million, and assuming it's the same class and all that, you could slowly work your way towards the other one after you get all that. But there might be an actual proper build, because right now there's not.
But I don't think I could league
a good build.
Or maybe you could.
People say it takes a little bit of setting up, but it's not. You could definitely do it on your first character, but yeah, it'll be after you get into maps.
You also have to keep in mind, Hillzone, that
yeah.
I see you make this mistake a lot. 20 Divine is... If you spend 20 Divine on the build, and it's able to do tier 16 maps and regular bosses,
yeah,
that is a cheap build.
That is true.
I feel like if you are more consistent in your money making this league, and actually, like follow a guide.
I mean, with the big change, there's character.
I do think it'll be a lot easier for Hillzone to make money this league with them removing sextants.
Because now you don't need to do like the something stuff. I grab and go. There.
Yeah.
Now, I do also notice that last like I think we found out that you don't actually Alk and go. I think you were just using Alks and not compass, or what's that?
Sextants?
Chiseling. You weren't chiseling at all.
Not chiseling.
No, I corrupt it.
Yeah, whenever you run a red map, you should always chisel, then Alk. Usually I'll get my red maps above 80%, and then I'll corrupt them.
No, because I was. I'd be more into doing SSR again if I only had like one button.
Yeah, that is the thing about Detonate Dead is a 2-button build. I think Blink Arrow Mirror Arrow is as well.
Yep. If he didn't have to summon, it'd be a 1-button. If it just followed. My last Epoch build only 2 buttons. Oh, technically, one. The other one's just kind of funny though, when he showed me that legal, that's literally the build that I'm playing in last Epoch. Great. Literally similar to that. But you have a belt that carries you code. 4 minions for like half. My question though, since it wasn't in there yet, though, do you think I could do that exact one? And if the helmet is inexpensive, throw in another 4 spec. That's would that be a bad idea?
Right.
For what?
For that same exact one, but then I throw on the helmet to get one more.
What one? A
Bomber.
Spectre build?
However you want to.
Oh, I think they have.
Oh, thanks, no.
I'm not sure.
I mean, I haven't got it yet. Yeah. What were you saying? Sorry.
I think they require a certain helmet, but I'm not sure. I've never went that build.
Well, you were yellow. You should.
The one
I don't
one
think
of them
there
I
was
showed you
any-
was unique.
There was a legendary helmet.
The cheap version had a unique.
Oh, it had a minion damage helmet, but maybe I wouldn't need that because of the extra.
I think if you're gonna use that helmet, you probably just want to go Spectres. But maybe
It
not.
doesn't give you a lot of freedom when you're stuck in this. Or maybe Detonate Dead will just be so fun I won't switch. Oh, I need the black treasure chest. Come on, baby, summon for me. Come on, be a good girl. Black treasure.
Oh, yeah, I was
Still
gonna
play
take
more
one of these
backpack
from you.
battles, Josh? Huh? Did you go AFK?
No.
Oh, what's up?
Did you play more backpack battles?
I played a bit more and I stopped.
Yeah.
I didn't really want to buy it, and it felt like without buying it, I just didn't have enough items or classes to keep me interested.
Well, what classes were you even interested? Because
Pyromancer
Bo's already top gear.
Yeah, I mean, Ranger seemed the strongest, but I didn't like how Reaper played, like, for fun, in a fun sense. So I was just playing Ranger over and over.
And you wanted to try other ones?
Yeah, but I didn't want to spend the money.
Isn't it only like $5?
I think it was like 15 or 20, which is still cheap, but I just, I don't think I'd play it a whole lot more if I bought it.
But go Power Ranger, come on. Oh boy. For a minute. I lost all my buffs. Gonna be funny.
I need to get some 90% isopropyl to clean my screen with.
Oh, no, no, no. No! Oh. Push. Give myself more time.
Glory to the brave. ready. Upgrade completed.
I just updated Xbox. Get updates, perhaps?
I can do the dragon. Yeah, be careful. Stronger. 25. Gonna do the dragon boss.
Piss me off. Get him.
Alright. Oh.
I will eat my slumber.
Oh. Don't hit.
My blaze will burn you.
No, I didn't mean to. Oh. 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 Oh no, it took me 2 hours to get that egg. Why did I do that?
My blaze will burn you.
What? What'd you say? I would have I easily could do that. The problem, I kept just backing up instead of going in a circle, and I backed up into the lava. Oh no! And that's game over. You can't just go and redo it. So I'm gonna have to wait, get lucky for one to drop one plane, or I gotta farm 2 hours to farm. Oh, I'm an idiot. An accident. Damn it. Oh. Any other games you guys are looking forward to there that's coming out? Dragon's Dogma, are you guys fan of that stuff? Hardcore?
Not for $70, I'm not.
Runs like shit.
Yeah, that's what I've been hearing.
Because I got the first one. Everyone's like, gotta get it. And everyone's like, no, Hillzone's gonna hate the game. And I'm like, I don't know, it's only $4, right? First of all, the expansion was literally $4. And I'm like, oh. And I played almost 4 hours of it, and I go, I really like it. They're really neat. I like how this is set up. Yeah, no, I want to play the new one.
Yeah.
It'll be better when, I don't know, another month from now? One thing that will help fix it will be frame generation. Yeah. So when it goes on sale and fix it,
Possibly. My biggest issue is I don't really like single player games a whole lot.
Well, I mean, it is, but then you also have the pawn.
Yeah.
Which makes it where you're not alone, and they're pretty powerful. Did you play the first one?
A little bit.
Hour?
Yeah, like an hour or two, I think.
Did you even get an overall? Did you even get to your second boss?
I think I got to the second boss. I don't remember. It's been a while.
What vocation?
I don't remember. I just remember, yeah, I didn't really care to play further because single player game.
Apparently, though, the new Horizon Forbidden West is a very good PC port.
That's good.
Happy for them. At least someone's doing their job, right? I was so frustrated out of spite, I almost went and bought it. Just because it worked. I already own it, I haven't finished it on the PS4 yet. And I know if I don't... Right. I know my brother... Yeah. Man, I keep trying, because that's all me and my brothers used to play, and now I can't get them. I wanted them to get 9-bit armies, which is actually fantastic, right? Or the Command and Conquer collection. I did it. Lego, have you played 9-bit or 8-bit army?
No.
No, I'm not a
You don't like
big
RTS?
strategy guy. I'm not like that style of RTS person.
So what style of RTS?
Like Dawn of War and
Dawn of War 1?
Company Heroes. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the only good one. They were starting to become more of a MOBA and no base. Company Heroes has a couple buildings, right?
Company Heroes 1 is the one I like, is the base building game pretty much. And if you play as the Oberkommando West, I think you're pretty much like a base building faction.
Because I know Dawn of War 2 started to stray away from that. You had 1, 2 main buildings. And then Dawn of War 3 went straight crazy MOBA, whatever, with only 1 building that builds every single unit. Streamlined stuff. I just don't know why Relic thought to do that. Everyone, I would even be beyond ecstatic if they remastered Dawn of War. I mean, I played it with mods, you know, to improve resolution and graphic. Great. I would love a remaster. But yeah, like that niche and everything, and honestly, still, you know, what happens? It's one of the most dead genres.
I think MMO has you beat there.
Are you sure about that? There's plenty of MMO.
Because there's like
players. Remember, RTS is in the thousands. MMOs is still in the millions.
yeah, we have to remember that like 4X games may as well be RTS games.
Who?
4X games,
Oh,
and like
I mean,
Stellaris may as well be a RTS.
At
least it used to be.
No, like real base.
Yeah, Stellaris is basically a base building game. It's that you take a planet and base build it instead.
Yeah, but it's not traditional. So can we have like a traditional? Like, you're being too broad. And you're trying to be...
I don't think that RTS needs base building to be an RTS, or a traditional one at that.
I think it does. Because it gives you macro and micro. If you only have one, then you're only doing micro. MOBA is all micro. StarCraft is mixed. And that game died. Well,
I think the macro comes from just having a lot of units.
Yeah, I think that base building is micro.
Or, okay. This reverse.
Well, having multiple regions you're looking for is micro. But
I consider Stellaris more of a 4X than an RTS, but
I think it used to be a lot more of an RTS
Are
than
you
it is
looking
now.
forward to Homeworld? Are you looking? Did you grow up with Homeworld? I played Homeworld.
Did I grow up with Homeworld? Hillzone, I'm 25.
Oh, you guys are so freaking young. I'm getting that. I'm old. I keep thinking you guys are older. I'm waiting on my second interview for FedEx. Okay, yeah.
How much is it gonna pay?
$20 an hour.
So why are you leaving the pizza place?
Destroying my freaking car. I'm sick of it.
Yeah, that'll do it.
So even if I make $40 a weekend, but then I only make $25 during the weekday on and off, or less, I'm still losing over $300 or more a month in damage to my car. We haven't even discussed gas. So
yeah.
But I mean, I applied at 11 other jobs, and they're either management, sales, or delivery office at Amazon, and just. But I don't know if this is too good to be true or what's actually going on. The area supervisor, after we had some major issues, lost another GM. I threw my hat in there, and my brother threw his hat in there. Now he wants to meet with both of us this week. I don't really know what that means.
Nice.
So does that mean I'm going to take over a different store? What the fuck? Did I die or something? I don't even know what happened. Whoever's watching the stream, clip that. There's no way I died in it. Alright, anyway. So, I don't know what's happening with that. Why we would both need to be talked to. Does he need a GM at another store? And I take over the GM at this store? Or what? But that could be a possibility. I would only be willing because it'd be a lot more money. I think it's 30, 35 an hour, I think.
That would be nice.
I'd still be working at
Pizza. Yeah.
So I'd still lose out on dates. What do you do for a living? Oh, click. Yeah, but I make 2 times more money than you do. Oh, wait, I want you back.
That's why you need to
People
say,
are just shallow. Who cares?
I'm a general manager at a food establishment.
Or no. I'm a manager in the restaurant industry.
Yeah, there you go.
Stupid though, right? Think?
Yeah.
Because I could totally date. I could totally marry someone that even works as a trash man at McDonald's. I don't care. That means nothing to me, right?
Very progressive of you to date a trash man and not a trash woman.
You know.
We take what we can get around here.
You know what I meant.
All right.
Your stream is really behind for me.
Yeah, I noticed that his stream's having all kinds of issues.
But going out to eat 10 minutes from here, a Voyager, a place that's blowing up with businesses, a job I would want to grab there just because they're hiring at such a high amount. But I don't think it's probably oversaturated with people applying. Had a massive red sign, right? Cashier 18, cook 20, assistant manager 24, manager 30.
Yeah.
And this was at Panda Express, at that specific one.
Man, you wouldn't catch me working at Panda Express ever.
For $30 an hour, why not? Free Chinese.
Well, first off, I don't believe myself to be management potential.
What'd you do?
Not only would I get yelled at by the people at the store, I'd also get yelled at by the people working under me.
What would you do?
Probably go feral.
Alright. I'm gonna go watch a TV show. I will see you later.
Alright.
Let me go watch it too.
He's gonna watch it with you. Get your blanket.
Bye.
Sadly, there's no big TV. It's only computer screens in this house.
Yeah, legal. I don't know. I can't decide. Do I want to go Detonate Dead? Do I want to try Brahma? It's gonna be too costly, too hard. I don't know, man. I do know if we could get it back, I would do it in a heartbeat. Those old minion builds where you could have like 50 zombies. It'd be fun. Can't do it anymore, though. Actually, I think everyone left Discord. I'm talking to myself. Right, Gummy Bear? And yep, I'm talking to myself. Totally. How's the weather there? Here we have a snowstorm. Anyone watching absolutely hate online dating? Because I do. I wish there was actual dating laws. I know that sounds crazy and would never happen in our lifetime. But if it could, I'd vote for it in a thousandth of a second. I would totally do it. And it would benefit the world, to be honest with you. Because people are shallow, people are mean, people are fake, and people get away with murder. Not actual murder, but just the sense of the word. Without any repercussions, without any accountability, and it hurts the other people. Yep, your location is definitely wrong. You better get out of California. Not a good state to live in. I know, I was born there. I want to leave. Yeah. You better try harder, or they take all your money and you get robbed and you can't even go to jail for it. What a joke. At this point, I think California should just leave the U.S. We don't need Hollywood. We don't need any of that. They can go blow away from the U.S. Put 10,000 lines of dynamite across the entire thing. Let it go out to you. No, it's facts. It's not negative. It's fact. Fact. they've been they're not too bright. No. Trust me, nobody wants to live in California. I didn't think there was really. We had 1 million people from California move here. It's insane. You know? I'm in Colorado. So your location's definitely fun. Dang it, I need... I'm not watching anything, I'm just playing. Trying to do rotate. Flip camera. Oh, my finger. I'm not using a keyboard. Well, I mean, it's there. Ah. Come on, give me a chest, give me a chest. Come on, give me a chest. I'm not getting lucky. Come on. Nope. That time. What? I need it. 7 more. Okay. Oh. Oh, careful. Oh, careful. Watch it. Oh, jeez. Oh, crap. Oh, boy. Oh, no. Okay, we... It was close. Don't see a chest. Yep. It's the only toys I got to keep after my divorce. All I got to... No, they take everything. There you have it. Anyways. Yeah, well, you know, life isn't easy. Best you can. mean, that was in 2017. I'm okay. What's worse was my last breakup that never should happen. That happened in January. Still new? Never should happen. I'm not really sad anymore. I'm more pissed off now. How can a person be so stupid, so dumb, and so full of himself to give up something amazing in front of them when I could have gave up at any time when things got bad? How about when you almost went to jail? How about when you almost killed 2 kids driving drunk? How about when you lost your car? How about when you went on probation? How about when you went, when you got, you're on strike or house arrest? Nope, didn't leave you for any of that. I could have left you at any time. Nope. But no, things get rough. No, you don't feel happy and you just give up instead of discuss shit. She didn't communicate at all. Gotta communicate. So based on her lack of communication, what she said, basically I should have gave up on her a long time ago. Or what I should have, honest, I should have gave up on her a long time ago. I didn't. Should have. You're an alcoholic and you nearly killed 2 people and now you've lost your car? Yeah. Good luck to you. Yep, that's what I should have did. Nope. Stayed by her side. Put up with her crap. But soon as life starts to get hard and she's unhappy and doesn't discuss it, oh, no, it's over. I can't do it. Really? You're not even going to try? What a dumb attitude. What a dumb, disgusting... Oh, I was sad. Oh, I was unhappy. Well, you never communicated that. You don't think I was unhappy about all that crap that you put me through? You think I was happy that you lost your car? You think I was happy that you're alcoholic? You think I was happy that you nearly went to jail? I mean, give me a break, all these stupid things. Oh, crap. Yeah. And I should have just let her go. I should have just gave up on her instead of trying to help her and be there. The worst part of all of it, I think, was the fact she was a grown adult. She's older than I am. And she acts like a stinking child. I think that was the worst. And I loved her, so I wanted the best for her and I would hold her accountable. If no one holds you accountable, they don't really love you. I don't care what anyone on this planet says. If they actually care about you, they're going to hold you accountable. And no one's ever held her accountable for dumb stuff. All she did was have excuses left and right. Oh, I'm tired. I gotta get up for work in 3 hours. I'm behind. I'm like, yeah, you chose to stay up till 4 in the morning, work on work, still I'm behind. Excuse after. Oh, no, I don't, you know, you never want to work out. You don't want to eat healthy. You don't want to take care of yourself. You don't get the right amount of sleep. You just have excuse after excuse after excuse. And anxiety over the dumbest things. You have the dumbest thought process of anyone I've ever met. And you know what? I still loved you and I stayed by your side. But no, you give up. Her loss. Her loss. I'll miss her. Give her. I still think she needs to grow up, and I still think she needs to be punched once in the... It's still... I wish I gave up. The same thing in my marriage. I should have gave up the year prior. No. Tried to save it. I went to therapy and tried to get help on what we could do different or what could happen different. None of it. Should have gave up. Should have moved on. Like, I learned my lesson again. I should have gave up on her 2 years. Why should I stay in support? The hardest crap. And she gives up. Why? And she's happy. Okay, so talk about it. Why are you unhappy? Oh, because you treat me like an adult, and I can't handle it. You're a child. Everything you complain about is called being an adult. It's tough. But it's called being an adult. Taking care of yourself is what an adult is. Going to sleep and going to work on time is an adult thing to do. Eating right is an adult thing to do. Stop smoking, stop drinking, stop doing drugs, show up to your probation. That's the adult thing. Right? But no, I'm a bad person for mentioning it. I'm a bad person trying to be there for that. Okay, maybe I'm not perfect. At least I know I'm a fucking adult. You're not. So, anyway. And you know what the worst thing above all that is, Gummy? You know the worst thing with that? I think I was blinded by love because I think I was gonna marry her. What a dumb freaking thing that would have been. Yeah. Right now I'm playing Dwarven Realms, actually. Pretty addictive. Only $4. I'll try to do this one. One hit, I die. Oh, to make it through each map and get stronger and you ever played RPGs before or anything like that, or Survivor games? Played any? Okay, I mean, yeah, this. some mocha cold coffee to get you today. Oh, I can't. What's that? No, come here. Okay, I need to kill 300 elites. I need 25 more. I need to finish 10 runs. Plus, just get the elites out. Oh my, it's already 2 in the morning? Oh, okay. How is it already 2 in the morning? You're kidding me. Yeah, stay home because of the snowstorm.
Justice will prevail.
Nothing, just the game.
Proceed to the rupture that you and face my minion.
Am I right? Oh, that's me replaying a message I made. That's all. Okay, well, I'm enough fast. Still no check. Just My beard is, my hair is dirty blonde. More my beard. Did it for my grandfather. Still no chest. Wonder if it, oh, I think it's, I wonder if it's certain to. Not. I don't think we're gonna get a chest this run. Don't think we are. Really wanted one. Darn. Yeah, I don't think it's out of time on it. What are you doing, Bear? No chest. They're all horrible.
May the spirit protect us.
Mhm. Alright, let's see if we can make. Bam, 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 bam.
Justice will prevail.
Bam. Bam.
Upgrade completed.
All? Did I really not?
Yes.
Oh. We have 5265.
Ready.
Alright, so every 30 is should have killed. Yep. Oh, we got a key. We got a key. Might as well go. Underground. Alright, got that. Okay. Alright. Well. Ah. Okay. I need to farm more. Hard. Alright, this should get us some. Oh, yeah, I gotta be careful. This is really awesome. I gotta be careful. This is right. Alright. Okay, kinda. Can't be hit. Really wish they. Oh, I didn't even realize that. Can't see. Can I leave yet? Nope. How many colors? Alright, did I get that one? Okay. Next one. Nope. Okay. Nope. Oh, do I have to talk to him each time? Okay. 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 Alright, 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 careful. Okay. 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 Alright, alright. We're okay, we're okay. 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 Get them all? Okay. Fuck, I'm running out of time. Dude. Running out of time. Wish it would just mark which one I'm allowed to do. Alright. Over. I didn't get to do them all, I didn't go fast enough. Let's see how much we got. 12, 24, damage 10. Oh yeah. There's I've done this before, but
We've got company.
Proceed to the Rupture statue and face my minion.
come on. I'll take time. a lot of time. Oh, I didn't know I was going to give off. Told me that. Come on. See? Oh, come on. What? Oh, come on. I almost killed him. I didn't even think I was in the vicinity. That's really unfair. Beyond him. Oh, that aggravates me, viewers. What a load of crap. My personal opinion, that never should Oh, that was my totem. I freaked out, thought it was his totem, so I kept running. I mean, that's a nice upgrade, though. Alright, well, at least we got another option. So mad.
Upgrade completed.
any more of it.
Proceed to the rupture statue and face my...
Need another chest, guys. Oh, I didn't mean this. They need to get rid of one hit. Unnecessary, unneeded. Got it. Now I gotta do it again. Let's see.
The tracks.
Kneel before my mighty firepower!
Crap, how is it?
Oh, hey, this Drake's got over 5 health bars left. This is going to be a ridiculously tough, long, extensive, and he's dead. He's dead now. He's gone. That's it. So, you guys aren't ready for how strong Sorcerer can be. Hello, my fellow Arisen, and for the first time in Dragon's Dogma 2, my fellow Sorcerers, I am here to share with you the secret to ultimate power and to prove definitively that Sorcerer is the best vocation in the game, as it was meant to be, as is right. Okay, look, every vocation is actually phenomenal to play and very powerful in their own right, but this feels like, I'm gonna be honest with you, almost an oversight. This is probably too good, but hey, it's incredibly fun to go around ultra explode, blow up, one-shotting every big bad boss beastie that dares look at you wrong. So how exactly is this happening? Well, essentially, what we're about to talk about is the Infinite Comet Zur laser beam equivalent from Elden Ring, but in Dragon's Dogma 2. And as with Elden Ring, when I was the first person to actually discover that Exodia level combination and share it with the world, I would be remiss to not do so here, because figuring out how to break things is kind of, well, my jam. That said, this one is definitely a lot more, I'm gonna go with obvious, because it doesn't require a ridiculous set of items found all over the world put particularly together. It doesn't require certain augments from certain vocations and certain combinations or any kind of synergy at all, really. I just want to point out how ridiculously busted this one particular sorcerer skill is and how to best use it. And as you've been seeing with it just explode death dealing in the background up to now, yeah, it's ridiculous. So let's get into it. So here we are then at the Vocation Guild. Let's actually talk the skill in question. It is this Augural Flare. Although Augural Flare is the upgraded version, you will get the initial one at Vocation rank 6 and then upgrade to Augural a couple ranks later. What this essentially does then is, well, as you can see, attaches a little explodey mine to the particular part of the enemy if it's a big one, or just generally on them if it's a small one, and then it does nothing. It will just fizzle out. However, if you attack the spot, it will do two things. Ramp up the damage it's going to deal, and then ramp up the number of times it will deal that damage. So you will add explosions, and then add number of explosions, and then add number of explosions. I just said the same thing 3 times. Brain. Brain! You will add number of explosions, and then you will add the damage those explosions do, as you and your pawns repeatedly just pummel the spot that it's on. And that's a fun skill, right? You have a lot of creative ways you could use it, depending on where you put it and your timings and how you attack it. But bottom line, it just does absolutely nutty damage if you properly exploit it. So let's get into doing exactly that. So here we are with a poor innocent Cyclops. We cast our flare, and this is one of the main initial advantages. Because we can choose exactly where it goes, you can put it on the weak point on the enemy, and then it will explode point blank on that weak point. So as soon as you've put it, just start spamming your magic bolts into the spot, and even if the pawns themselves don't help, I mean, you can see it's a very casual, contemptuous, oh, okay. And yes, of course, basic Cyclops, the easiest of the big boy enemies, but I think that's a very good example of just how effortless it makes killing these things. So this Dullahan here then is another great example. He is very, very susceptible to point-blank explosions on very specific points. Now, it should be said that what matters most is number of attacks put into the flare, and as you can see, you get a lot of explosions. The raw damage the attacks do into the flare is much, much less important. You just want pure blanket volume, which is why our own little magic bolt spam is actually really, really good for this. And the thing is, the actual cast time is incredibly quick, as we can quick spell it, and the stamina cost is relatively tame, only using about just over half your bar remaining after you've cast it from full. So we end up in this situation where we really can do a lot. And because it's delayed, you can use that to your advantage. Something like a griffin that's going to fly away, or a drake that's going to fly away, if they have a mine on them, it will then explode and then bring them crashing back down to the ground, so you don't have to play the chasing game, which is really, really neat. Especially something where I'm being faced down by the Dullahan. It's like, oh no, what's going to happen? But then all my explosions go off, and there was a very good chance that it would have staggered him there. Sadly not, but it's something that happens very commonly with this spell. So, if you are a thief, for example, that can attack very, very quickly and have a sorcerer pawn casting it, you're going to get very good results. You also get a lot better results if you have a boon on your weapon. This staff here, and we do have a video up on how to actually get it, has a permanent lightning enchant. Or, of course, get your boons from the mage in your party. But boons going into the flare rapidly amp it up from my testing, and that's something to certainly keep an eye on. And on top of that, when a big enemy goes down and it's now in its like weakened, oh no, kill me state, like a Cyclops on its back or a Griffin flopped over, they take bonus damage, which multiplies massively into the flare. But there is a little bit of a more advanced technique that you can actually do with this using a different sorcerer skill. And actually one mage can do too. And this is Spell Hold. What this will let you do is cast a spell, i.e. the flare, and then store it in your archer staff to then instant cast it later on. Which, as you can imagine, has some really fun implications. But the implication it has for our flare is that we can put two different flares on the target back to back very rapidly. And while you could just speedily cast flare, then flare, then flare, the stamina cost of that is immense, and if you're not immediately using your blast to stack up the flare's damage and explosions, it will dissipate quite quickly. So the general strategy is going to be as follows. You want to store a flare in your staff, then you want to hardcast a normal flare, attack it just a few times to get it actually rolling to extend the duration, then instant cast your spell hold stored flare, and then just start attacking both of them equally. What will happen is the first one will explode and detonate, which will then power more damage and explosions into the second one, which will then explode and detonate even more, which results in absolutely, utterly spectacular damage. So yeah, this thing is absolutely brilliant, and as I say, you don't need any particular items, you don't need any particular setup or synergy, just the flare, just whack it on the weak spot on like the heart of the drake, the head of the griffin, pour your little magic blast into it, have your pawns focus on it, melee rapid attacking pawns like Thief do the best job of that, and watch the, carnage disintegration fly. Now, technically, you could take this a little bit of a step further. If you are a thief yourself, have a couple sorcerer pawns that only have the flare equipped. You can choose your pawn to not have the full 4 skills, just one, which means they're going to cast that over and over and over and over again. So if you were a thief with 3 sorcerers casting just Augural Flare, and you're just rapid stabbing all of the spots, Mystic Spearhand can do it too, with its very quick onslaught, then you're going to have some silly results. And indeed, that exact technique is what 4.5 barred this Drake from a sorcerer pawn casting the flare and the Arisen Thief just stabbing the ever-loving hell out of it on top of the heart, the weak point, and hey presto, no more Draco. It's seriously fun, powerful and something I really want you to experiment with because it's super worth using. You can do some really interesting concepts with it, and it will make a lot of the game perhaps too easy, so use it at your own peril. For now then, like you've enjoyed this, I will be back with a full guide to everything Sorcerer, the vocation as a whole, builds, armor, equipment, all of that stuff, tips and tricks in a couple days, but I really wanted to get this out there because objectively this is the single most powerful thing in all of Dragon's Dogma 2, and it's really not close, and you needed to see it. For now then, like you've enjoyed this, subscribe and hit the bell for more, consider supporting the future of the channel on Patreon down below, and until we meet again, a goodbye.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Bye.
Excuse me. Alright, come on, you're taking it. Great. Yes.
Get to the target.
Shelby, yes, on my way.
Persona 5 Strikers is a pretty huge departure from traditional
Okay, wowzers.
combine the series with the popular Dynasty Warriors franchise. The result is a game that feels both familiar and foreign to Persona fans and Dynasty Warriors fans alike. And to help make your progress through this game go as smoothly as possible, I'm going to be giving you my top tips based on the over 100 hours that I've put into the game. Before we get into the video though, I would just like to remind you that I do stream most days over on Twitch at twitch.tv/RosalindGaming, so if you have any questions about this video, Persona 5 Strikers, or any other game that I cover, you can always hit me up over there or on my Discord server, both of which are linked in the video description. So with that shameless plug out of the way, let's go over my top tips for Persona 5 Strikers. To start things off, I want to give a few tips with regards to SP management, as managing your SP, especially in the early stages of the game, is very important. For starters, you can leave jails and re-enter them at any time that you have access to a checkpoint. This is super inefficient and the enemies will respawn, but it will be necessary early on. One thing you can do to help conserve SP though is to make use of combos outside of battle to heal up after a fight. The earliest opportunity to do this is with Pixie by using a square-square triangle-triangle combo. Doing so will cause Pixie to cast Dia on Joker. The amount this heals is drastically reduced when compared to if you were to cast it from the menu, but it is also free. And as you progress through the game, be sure to be on the lookout for other personas such as Principality who can do the same thing as well. Another super useful way to restore SP is through the use of the ability Soul Stealer. This is a passive ability that will drain SP from enemies that are afflicted with a status ailment when you attack them. On's persona learns this at level 10, and Joker can get access to it as early as level 5 with Jack-o'-lantern. Once you get to the second city, you'll be able to start buying items that can restore SP, albeit only about 5 SP per item. However, you can only buy 3 at a time. In order to buy more, you want to enter the jail and defeat a few packs of enemies, and then leave the jail in order to reset the shop. Once you get further into the game, you can use this method to stock up on ingredients for cooking as well. One of the prime culprits that'll drain your SP early on is dealing with enemy shields that appear below the enemy health bars. An effective method for dealing with them that doesn't use SP is to use Joker's charge shot on his gun. Just be careful though, as this does consume ammo, so you can't solely rely on it in a prolonged fight. The ban system in Persona 5 Strikers is its replacement for the social elements that the series has become known for, and you will gain banned experience, and subsequently banned points, for doing pretty much everything in the game. Some of the perks that you can acquire with banned points are quite good, while others not so much. Further Ties is one of the banned perks you should invest in as early as possible, as it increases the amount of banned experience that you gain in general. After that, you can pretty much pick them up as you see fit, with one exception. That one exception is Support Recovery. This banned perk seems like it would be fantastic, as it says it restores HP and SP to all party members after battle. The unfortunate reality though is that this perk is a complete waste of points. It costs a very high number of points to learn, 15 for just the first level, and the amount that it actually restores is insultingly low, at a whopping 6 whole HP and SP at max rank. Seriously, don't take this, just don't do it. This tip really only applies to Joker, but when fighting enemies, they will telegraph any special attack that they do via a chat box that pops up over their character model. You can use this to your advantage to quickly bring up Joker's persona mini with R1, and then switch to a persona that is either strong against or even immune to the damage type of the enemy's attack. When fighting random enemies, this is admittedly quite tedious, but against stronger enemies and bosses, it can save your life. Staying along the same lines as with Tip 8, you can actually use the telegraphed attacks from enemies in order to interrupt their abilities. To do this, you will need to hit their weak spot or deal critical strike damage to them in order to break one of their shields, but doing so will cancel out the attack. You can see your active character showtime gauge in the lower left hand corner of the screen, so it's easy to know when it's filled up and ready to be used. But it's also possible to see when a party member's showtime is ready without actually having to switch to them by looking at the little flame that's been added to their character portrait when it's ready. As you play through the game, you may find yourself gravitating towards one or two characters who you really like to control. That's all well and good, but do be sure to at least use everyone a little bit so they can learn their master arts. Master arts are very powerful and they can only be learned while you are controlling the character. Oh, and even if you switch to other characters long enough for them to learn their master arts, I would recommend learning how to play at least 3 characters in total. Just, throwing it out there. Hint hint, wink wink. If you choose to regularly play as someone else other than Joker, be sure to keep note of which persona that Joker has equipped when you switch off of him. This is because Joker won't switch persona when controlled by the AI, and he will use whatever he last had equipped. The last tip that I have for battles is actually more of a gearing tip, but that is to make sure that you are keeping up with Futaba's armor and accessories. As with Persona 5 and Persona 5 Royal, you don't actually get to control Futaba, however, there are defense battles in which you must protect her from infinitely spawning hordes of enemies, and if she dies, it's game over. Ideally, you won't let anything get close enough to her to hit her, but keeping her equipment up to date can help out in the off chance that you let an enemy get too close. Finally, I'd like to end with a few more generalized tips, starting with the game cities. In Persona 5 Strikers, there isn't much that is missable since you can go back to previously completed jails at any time, and most of your shopping and requests are picked up from inside the RV. That being said, any items, recipes, or requests that are tied to a specific city in the game become unavailable as soon as you leave them. So just make sure that you're doing everything you want before you move on after each city's story arc. The next tip is with regards to Persona skills, and will probably be a feature that longtime fans of the series will hope make it into later entries. At any time, you can change out what skills your party members' persona have by going to their persona in the menu, hitting the square button to highlight their skills, and then hitting circle in order to change that skill with another one. This can be used to change to any skill that that persona has already learned previously through leveling up. Oh, and this can also be done with Joker's persona as well, but you will want to be careful when doing that, as only skills that have been learned by that persona through leveling up can be swapped out. If you happen to get rid of a skill that you learned via a skill card, or that you passed down through fusion, then it'll be gone for good. And for the last tip, I wanted to mention something with regards to party member experience. Unlike in Persona 5 and Persona 5 Royal, where it was possible for characters not in your active party to receive some experience, in Persona 5 Strikers this is not the case. So just be sure to be actively switching your characters in and out to make sure that no one falls too far behind in levels. And that'll do it for my top tips for Persona 5 Strikers. If you found this video helpful and informative, please be sure to leave a like as it really does help out. Also, I will have plenty more Strikers content coming out, so if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the channel so you can get notified when new videos are released. Until next time, take care.
There have been so many Musou spin-offs for popular licenses that it can be hard to keep track of them all. Yet Persona 5 Strikers manages to be more than just another one of those games. It excellently captures the spirit of Persona 5, both in terms of that game's mechanics as well as its storytelling. There's a fair amount to dig into, and if you're already invested in the escapades of the Phantom Thieves, it's well worth the time to see how their journey continues. Strikers does partly suffer from a sort of bland repetition that the Musou genre is notorious for, but there's so much to praise that it ends up feeling largely forgivable. It's hard to overstate just how impressively Strikers embodies the Persona 5 flavor. While it does have the expected hacking and slashing, a surprising number of core Persona elements really enhance the basic gameplay, turning Strikers into more of an action RPG than a typical Omega Force game. 4 characters engage in battle, and you can actively switch between them at almost any time. Every character has their own persona, which has its own set of skills. It helps to regularly switch between characters to use their skills for things like taking advantage of specific enemy weaknesses, healing allies, buffing party members, and so on. Strikers incorporates one more and all-out attacks from Persona 5, basically rewarding you with additional damage for exploiting a foe's vulnerabilities. Joker, the main character, can utilize an entire stable of personas, which he collects and fuses into new, even more powerful personas. So not only do you want to carefully consider party composition based on what you're fighting, but also how Joker's roster will complement that party. It's a fair amount to think about, and it's very similar to the kinds of strategic decisions players make in Persona 5. It lends a commendable sense of authenticity to Strikers, and that authenticity makes it easier to get invested. The depth doesn't end with those ideas, however. Every character has their own particular nuances, which makes them all feel notably different from each other. For instance, timing Sophia's attacks correctly raises her attack power and range, while Haru can extend her finishers for large amounts of damage. Although it doesn't sound like a whole lot on paper, these small traits go a long way in keeping things interesting, especially since you're encouraged to constantly switch between characters and have to immediately grapple with someone that feels slightly different in the heat of the moment. Swapping characters also makes the showtime gauge grow faster, which builds toward a flashy super move. Taking all of these mechanics together, there is a lively, frenetic nature to the fights in Strikers. Yet it never gets to the point that it becomes totally mindless. One thing to consider is that your skills take health, or SP. It can be especially easy to run out of SP, which isn't always simple to recover, necessitating a smart use of resources. Such restrictions add an appreciated and enjoyable element of risk, without dampening the free-flowing joy of combat. Even how you move around dungeons is smartly taken from Persona 5. Rather than just running around and carelessly smacking enemies, the player is supposed to use high vantage points or cover to avoid being seen. Ambushing enemies gives you an edge in battle, and being seen raises the dungeon's security level. Raise it too high, and you won't be able to open certain treasure chests. If it gets all the way up, you'll be thrown out of the dungeon entirely. While none of it is nearly as complex as a game primarily focused on stealth, the need for some caution adds to the stakes of dungeon crawling. While initially very interesting, dungeons repeat certain ideas far, far too much. Fending off waves of enemies as Futaba hacks open a path forward or climbing large towers for glowing cores is fine at first, but the appeal wears thin when you get to the next dungeon and it throws the same ideas at you yet again. It's not that dungeons don't have unique ideas, they definitely do, but not enough to ward off the sense of sameness that quickly creeps in. Side quests also suffer from similar issues. If you have the urge to engage with them, which you probably should for the rewards, expect to do the same sort of tasks over and over again. The combat is enjoyable enough that it helps balance the scales a bit, but not completely. Although you don't raise confidant ranks with characters or engage in a wide variety of daily activities like Persona 5, Strikers does give you a fair amount of room to stretch your legs outside of battle and engage with the ever-endearing cast. You'll travel all across Japan, and the places you visit are delightful, effectively capturing the sort of laid-back vibe that Persona is known for, which can be quite comforting. There are shops to visit, recipes to learn, and favors to do for your friends, which have their own cute little stories that accompany them. The actual plot is another highlight, although it mirrors Persona 5 a little too much. Once again, you're changing the hearts of abusive people, but there's enough emotional weight behind the narrative that it still ends up resonating quite strongly. A lot of it is carried by two of the new characters, Sophia and Zenkichi. Sophia is a bright-eyed and cheerful AI companion. Her chipper attitude isn't overdone or grating, but is instead pretty adorable and makes her easy to like. Zenkichi, on the other hand, is a competent police officer, but not the most attentive father. Uncovering his struggles and helping him through them are some of the strongest moments in the game. It's also great having the main cast from Persona 5 all together right at the beginning. There are few casts that are as much fun to watch interact because of how believable their friendships are. They tease and console each other in such a natural way, and Strikers manages to nail these relationships perfectly. The music deserves a special shout-out. Although much of it is lifted from Persona 5, it only serves as a reminder of how spectacular that soundtrack is. Strong themes constantly elevate moments, whether it's a climactic boss battle or a deeply emotional segment. If you have an attachment to the world and characters of Persona 5, you owe it to yourself to play Strikers. The shift in genre makes combat exciting, and the story manages to capture so much of what made Persona 5 such an outstanding game. The Phantom Thieves are back, not in some watered-down spin-off, but in a way that will very likely steal your heart all over again. Final score, 8 out of 10. Want to hear more of our thoughts on the game? Check out the latest episode of Frame Trap to listen to us discuss Persona 5 Strikers, Little Nightmares 2, Bowser's Fury, and more. All of our videos are made possible by generous viewers just like you. If you like what you see, check out patreon.com/easyallies to help us make more.
Oh, I see.
So you think Muso games are good? I do. And I'm tired of pretending they're not. Their framing, their tone, and most importantly, their game flavors are what really set them apart from standard action games into more of an action strategy game experience, and the way they layer game systems can help add an asterisk to the oft-levied complaint of,
aren't they a bit brain dead?
No, not brain dead, since difficulty isn't always as simple as, can you even die? Because if failure is a death state in the language of video games, then
buddy,
this genre is like the Dark Souls of responsibility simulators. Track yourself, your team, your objectives, your territories, your kill count. Find the chests, gather materials, protect that guy, capture that base, direct your troops, complete sub-objectives, upgrade your stuff, their stuff, this stuff. Chill with your favorite buds and feel them parasocial
vibes.
It's like, I went to college near Vegas, and these games mainline the energy of a late-night traipse through that glittering citadel of sound and light, capturing a viscerally video slot-esque experience of meters, effects, alerts, and strategies to optimize every run, to draw out the animal part of your brain that buzzes with Pavlovian consistency, a natural endpoint of the video game power fantasy where the player character essentially comes with their own boss music as they mow down whole battalions in a single attack, and where one mission's body count can exceed that of War's entire main story. Known in Japan as a Muso game, meaning peerless, unparalleled, or unmatched, that description tracks. Your character is a god of the battlefield mowing down red shirts with the tactical precision of the first act of a Star Trek episode. A lone fighter facing down an army of lackeys with hack-and-slash combat punctuated by special enemies and larger boss battles. Muso also references the ultimate moves unleashed by the warriors you play as, spirit bomb level attacks that generate entire visual spectacles. This genre rides a razor's edge of comfort and conquest as players venture naturally into that much sought after flow state, as a stream of objectives in both the individual missions and the overarching course of the game ring harmoniously like a pipe organ in ADHD Goblin's mind church. Stressful and soporific at the same time, like a well-mixed cocktail, the execution of combos, the efficient maximization of your forces, the minute-to-minute objectives impressed upon the player fosters an intrinsic desire to set a running list in your mind. Your short-term goals of capturing territory, conflicting with the desire to complete side missions that draw you away, versus the long-term goals of acquiring specific enemy materials or unlocking new characters via visible or hidden requirements. While it's easy to approach the genre with cynicism, there's
actually a lot going on in Muso games, though.
So, I'm Dennis from That's for the Birds, and this is an ode to the warrior genre. I love Moose so much. The first Muso game was Dynasty Warriors, released in 1997 for the Sony PlayStation 1, produced by Omega Force, a Japanese video game developer and division of Koei Tecmo, founded in 1996 by Akihiro Suzuki. A Musou game existing in the today of 2022 is essentially always getting made by Omega Force. The Dynasty Warriors series was just the start, and the game type has gone on to crossover with other popular IPs like Gundam, Fire Emblem, Dragon Quest, Persona, One Piece, and even The Legend of Zelda. What's really crazy though is at this point, the licensed spin-offs generally put to shame not only the typical expectations of licensed games, but almost all the mainline Dynasty games in both their inventive twists on the gameplay formulas and the character combat ingredients. After nearly 30 years of perfecting their craft, we have such a myriad of game experiences by virtue of the different emphasis put on certain aspects of design. Each experience is tailored to the vibe of the source they use as a foundation. Some focus on the moment-to-moment combat, seeking to build around that alone, and some focus on the acquisition of materials and weapons to bolster a smaller cast of more distinct player characters. Some use a monstrous cast, but as a result, they're more set apart by visual identity than gameplay. The death sentence for a Warriors game really is where characters become an archetype and their individuality washes away, leaving a player with the dull task of propelling themselves through a repetitive set of objectives on a repetitive set of maps with a repetitive set of flavors. And as anyone who has ate the same meal daily for an entire college semester can attest, variety truly is the spice of life. For example, you don't want characters to melt away, boiled down to their weapon alone. Even if you mix up the animations like in Dynasty Warriors 9 for instance, the feel becomes homogeneous across the board through its extensive streamlining. While Fire Emblem Three Hopes has a dozen player archetypes which then combine with weapons for each class and a set of personal character skills and sub-skills that make most of them feel unique in execution, leaving you with multiple gameplay roles to try out on top of their individual movesets. Finding that sweet spot is vital for the genre's fast-paced experience. So, the missions then. That's the brain-dead part, right? Well, again, it's a spectrum of quality. There can be survival, escort, base defense, capture the flag, wave battles, one-on-one boss battles, wars of attrition, storytelling through gameplay as a last stand or buying your forces enough time to regroup. Some games allow you to switch with up to 4 characters, requiring coordination and direction befitting a strategy game. Part of the reason Fire Emblem Warriors feels just oh so perfect for the genre. Some of the games have single fighter only maps like Pirate Warriors, and while I think that game out of all of them gets the most right in many ways, I think a blend of both is best. The system I've grown to love the most is the adjutant system of the Fire Emblem games, which, true to their spirit of strategy warfare, allows the player to assign a team member to either follow and defend either your player or an objective, or my personal favorite, which is pairing up with them for stacking ultimates and secondary skills which only activate through their increased bonds with each other. They can even learn new abilities through this method by sharing those abilities if they're teachable. This gave me personally the freedom to run around as one character and switch as needed instead of sending them to opposite sides of the map alone, which is maybe the more efficient option, but sometimes less interesting than controlling the whole battlefield alone. Giving us the real choice to mold the strategy ourselves is the difference maker here, and all of that sets aside the inherent fun and smooth application of some combos and their special endings, which some are even actually big ol' representations of the personality or hobbies of the character.
Well, what about the stories then?
Yeah, I won't fight you here. Story is a constant sticking point in many of these games as they are built around the continual repetition of combat as a means of progression. In many of the experiences you can feel that the goal was make a Warriors game and everything else formed around that. Now, they all take place during a running conflict of some sorts, which helps frame that repetition as a fact of war, but some games do go beyond. Persona Strikers is one that genuinely earns its place as a Persona spin-off that enhances the original Persona experience with a Bob the Builder quality level of structure. A Warriors game where the story is the point is kind of a rare occurrence. Its expertly crafted combat system is like an admiring little brother, desperately trying to emulate the vibe of their idolized sibling. In some ways it succeeds, and in some ways that success hinders its own individuality. As a Persona game, though, it's sort of exactly right if you don't care as much about the social system aspect. But as a Musou game, its precise recreation of the quirks of its ancestor hinder the free-flowing nature of combat in many ways. Coupling that with essentially the smallest functional cast of characters, with homogenized combo sets, this game sticks out as a whole unique Musou experience that in some ways doesn't commit far enough to the bit. Brief sidebar here. What I often feel in this game more than others is that moment-to-moment play is the most important aspect as opposed to field awareness, but then the combat itself is either very start and stop as a result to the spell casting time stop or the tight camera causing all-out attacks to consume the screen, that even for a Muso game it feels like my rhythm is being assaulted as the competing systems battle for my attention. Though to counter my own argument of the combat flow is that at times Persona's combat feels like
visual jazz,
and I want more of that in my veins, please. And if you want an action Persona game, it is that. If they also included the other stable aspects, it would feel analogous to the Final Fantasy VII Remake's changes from the original to its more action-heavy step-cousin. Speaking of spin-off semi-pre-sequels, it seems like Muso games have smoothly slid into this niche as a way of engaging with open questions from the original games, drawing in fans of the IPs to a new experience that broadens the world and its implications. Games like Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, which took the breadth of the wild world along with its gameplay systems and bonded them at a molecular level, integrating both the Sheikah Slate and the Rod of Power for environmental, elemental, existential exchanges, all deliciously juxtaposed with the backdrop of the long-lost war that sets up the game's original plot. Well, giving each player adequate room for skillful optimization of their characters through weapon upgrade traits, individual skills, and a targeted focus on meter breaking that forces players to assess captains, the environment, and your character's inherent best guard-breaking combos in concert for the best experience. This game has a cast size that generally fits between the sparse offering of strikers and the gargantuan potluck-esque experience of characters provided by later Dynasty Warriors games, the definitive Hyrule Warriors, or the more recent Fire Emblem games. On that note, as another of the spin-off pre-sequels, Fire Emblem Three Hopes more than most have really sought to make the main story its primary feature while not sacrificing authenticity to its source lore or gameplay systems. Systems like the relationships built throughout conversations, the weapons upgrade systems of Three Houses. In that same spirit, it has multiple paths for the story with incredible characters, extensive rock-paper-scissors-like resistance and weaknesses, multiple paths featuring those shifting loyalties as you recruit new soldiers from opposing forces, and more. It really does feel like Omega Force and Koei Tecmo have hit a sweet spot in unifying what makes the series they adapt popular by creating a distinctly at-home feeling to them, like your favorite pair of pants or a good hot chocolate. These games scratch the goopy gamer part of the brain and says, run it back. I only need to do this map here one more time for enough job points and experience to become a mortal savant which finally owns. Yeah, it can be repetitive. If you or the game aren't incentivized to diversify the experience, it can be mindless if you play absent-mindedly and the game doesn't incentivize any concrete thought. And it can be grindy if... No, well, they all carry a touch of the grind. Some, maybe more than others, are held up by the grind, absorbed by the grind, molded by the grind. But with a couple key features, they don't gotta be defined by the grind. Which brings me to One Piece Pirate Warriors 4, my absolute favorite of the bunch of them. Now, sure, at least part of that is my love of the series, but that really grew as a result of the game, which I got on sale and then liked so much I read the manga after. I was originally someone who gave up with the 4Kids dub, but what I think is more significant, though, is a constellation of factors. The characters. The amount of variety in gameplay between them where, despite falling into power, speed, technical, and sky classes, their individuality in character design, and their manga character design, is reinforced through their feel and approach. Many of them have different combos, different results from their skills, and different inherent abilities that make experiences fresh consistently, and each character becomes its own little puzzle to solve. The utilization of those self-directed sets of skills that plays with the source material in really engaging ways. I really love that as some characters with form changes, you can set multiple form changes up, or with some characters you may opt for 3 ultimate attacks. There's a jump button, which is surprisingly not a constant piece of the genre. Many games opt for small aerial extensions that add to existing combo sets, usually from the C1 combo. Finally, as the end point of this Big Dipper of a metaphor, the treasure log has to be my favorite aspect of this game. Utilized in other mainline entries as a sort of challenge mode, this game allows for a huge set of scenarios that would put unlikely combinations of fighters together for unique story missions. You can use any unlocked character on any map or scenario with a butter-smooth escalating difficulty curve. In Pirate Warriors, it returns character tokens, which further unlock usable characters, stat increases, and skills, and man, I love playing as Law, with Smoker as an ally fighting the world government. It just cracks me up. And while it does add to the immediacy of combat to control one player alone for every mission, as opposed to more staccato approach of jumping around the map via character switches, I think this game could be improved by integrating multi-character maps occasionally to add the dilemma of choice to the equation. Also, for the love of God, I shouldn't be finding out after I've picked Sanji that he can't fight ladies in this mission if I've already passed the load screen. Just tell me when I go to select the map if he's not going to be usable. Come on. Anyway.
So what's the point?
I think these games have a lot more going on for them than their initial impression suggests, and that leads me to the ask, which is, please make more spin-off Musou games. My sub-ask, which is, make sure they include a jump button, at least 14 distinct characters, but preferably double that, with focus on them filling the widest range of archetypes possible. Maps of varying character requirements from 1 to 4, providing incentive to switch around, but freedom to use your favorites through skillful shoring up of their weaknesses with smart pairings. A treasure log style side story mode where any character unlocked can be used to extend replay value and role-playing possibilities. 60 FPS for my eyeballs and brain.
If you know what I'm saying.
It feels like as anime fans, we are inundated by a constant stream of arena fighters, average JRPGs, or at worst, mobile games. Now, I know the reason. Those games make money. All of them probably make more than the Musou genre ever has or will, but I'd argue there is no better adaptation for the vibe of shonen anime or modern fantasy in some ways than the Musou genre. Fuck it, I did argue it. Let's lay it out straight. I think a lot of IPs could benefit from this expression of both power and strategy. Imagine, if you will, the Demon Slayer fighting the hordes of Muzan Kibutsuji. Their breathing techniques providing a perfect framework for the experience, coordinating your forces, learning new forms. Or how about the sorcerers of Jujutsu Kaisen? The unique curse techniques of the good, the bad, and the everyone in between would be incredible. The wide-ranging enemy designs and the dark, moody atmosphere would just... I mean, damn, off the top of my head, you've got Naruto, Bleach, Hunter x Hunter, Yu Yu Hakusho, Black Clover, Tokyo Ghoul, fucking JoJo's! I mean, we're sitting on gold mines here. Just make Jump Force, but Musou and
good.
Or, branching out even further, what about a Star Wars game with Jedi, Sith, and Mando classes fighting Star Wars over the years, allowing for fans of both canon and non-canon experiences to get in on the action in a way that makes people happy for once? What about Lord of the Rings, Return of the King, a game which I will go to my grave wishing for a remake of? I think you can see the untapped potential here. These games have worked their way into my heart after many years. While not as complex in their technical gameplay as an action fighter, not as stylishly bombastic as a Devil May Cry game, and not as emotionally resonant as the stories they often adapt, Musou games have evolved steadily over the years by operating somewhere in the middle of all that, bringing their own sense of order to the chaos. I think they're worth taking a chance on. Thanks for watching. Oh, and please make a better Berserk game. It makes me really sad to add another bad adaptation to the pile. Oh, check out my Patreon if you want to see more. Thanks.
No, it's fine.
Proceed to the Raptor statue and face my minion.
whole armies flying, and occasionally you run into other warrior gods, with which I mean named story characters, but with the exception of the very last boss on the battlefield, even they are at your mercy and you can AoE them down with the regular troops. So why do you think it's going to attract more and newer players to the series? The elephant in the room is of course the new visual style. The once heavily feared Demon King is looking like a reckless fool. The once scantily clad Nohime is donning an elegant yukata and uses a bow instead of claws. Samurai Warriors 5 is not a sequel but a full-on reimagination and reboot of the series. A game that is sure to raise a lot of questions for both the existing fans and newcomers. But fear not, because in this video review I am going to show and tell you everything you need to know, and if you still have any questions by the end of it, all you have to do is drop a comment and I will get back to you as soon as I can. Oh, and if you want to stay up to date with the latest niche and Japanese games, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel and click the bell icon to not miss out. Now without further ado, let's get into the action. A quick introduction for those unfamiliar with Musa games, or also called the warrior games in the West. They are like a subset of action games where you play as powerful characters that fight hundreds of weaker enemies at once to get through a stage and then fight equally powerful quote-unquote boss battles at certain parts and at the end of the stage. In other words, you get to feel like an absolute god on the battlefield, throwing flashy and satisfying attacks left and right. What started out as Dynasty Warriors many years ago, which focuses on the Chinese era of conflict by the way, the spin-off Samurai Warriors focuses on the Sengoku era in Japan, an era in which the country was divided by many clans and warlords trying to increase their influence to ultimately unify the land once more. One of the key characters during this period is Oda Nobunaga, not to be confused with Oda Nobunaga. If you're familiar with Japanese culture, games or even anime, the name Oda Nobunaga is something you might have heard before. He is widely known as a Demon King because of his ruthless actions, such as laying waste to entire cities where he took no mercy on innocent lives. Not even children. And this is how he's usually portrayed in media. Well, that or a cute anime girl. But what isn't often portrayed is his life leading up to that point. His younger self, where he didn't have the nickname Demon King yet, but was instead known as the Fool of Owari. This is where Samurai Warriors 5 starts. A young Oda Nobunaga that seeks to fulfill his ambition to unify Japan through his strength and with the help of his allies. And that means battles. Lots of battles, which brings us to the stages. In total there are 69 story stages, and each of them takes 20 to 30 minutes to clear, with cutscenes included. Half of the stages follows Oda Nobunaga's story, which starts out when he is young and reckless and ends with the Honochi incident where he's much older and wears the title of the Demon King. The same story can also be experienced from the perspective of Oda Nobunaga's trusted ally, Mitsuhide Akechi, to give you a better perspective of everything that happened during that time. And finally, there are 9 what-if scenarios where you play as Oda's enemies during very important battles. All in all, this should be good for 25 to 30 hours worth of playtime, and there's even more to do. But first, let's have a quick look at the gameplay itself. Have you ever played a game where you use cheats, mods, or some kind of god mode to become overpowered in battles? Well, that's exactly how I describe the gameplay in Musa games, because you literally are a god on the battlefield. With just a few button presses you dish out these big and dramatic attacks that set whole armies flying, and occasionally you run into other warrior gods, with which I mean named story characters, but with the exception of the very last boss on the battlefield, even they are at your mercy and you can AoE them down with the regular troops. So why is this even fun, you might ask? Honestly, for me it's a mixture of great looking characters, big beautiful attacks that feel impactful, and the sheer speed at which you can move. This is actually why Hattori Hanzo is one of my favorite characters to date. He can Naruto run across the battlefield in mere seconds, and whenever there's a group of enemies he can make quick work of them in a flashy way. The challenge in Samurai Warriors 5 doesn't really come from the fighting itself, but rather from how you behave on the battlefield. You see, the developer uses 2 tricks to give you a challenge. One is by scoring you on time, kills and combo count, and the other is by adding extra objectives during each mission, of which some of them are hidden. The first trick encourages you to be quick and always keep